Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm doing well. So, for those of you who have been watching me for some time, I've been on YouTube for like 2-3 years now. So, for those of you who have been watching me for a while, you can tell that I'm coming to you in a slightly different format. I've been watching a lot of podcasts lately and thought maybe that would be a better way for me to start putting out videos a little more on the regular side and talk about some different things, one of which is my love of beer. If you are friends with me on Facebook, if you follow me on Instagram, whatever, then you know that one of my other passions in life, in addition to knitting and crocheting, is discovering new beers. And I'm not talking about like Blue Moon, Miller Lite, like that stuff is gross. Like it's cold water basically. It's when you need a refresher. But my husband and I are really into going out and learning about new breweries and finding new flavors and just experimenting with different tastes when we go out to eat for a nice dinner or something. So I thought that I could do something where I combine my, compared to other people, minimal knowledge of beer, but the fact that I like it, with my knitting and crocheting. So the way that I thought I would do that would be at the beginning of every podcast, I crack open a bottle or a can, because cans are popular again now, pour it out, and then drink it through the podcast. I don't see how anyone loses, except for you, because you can't taste it unless the beer is bad. But in this case, I have had this beer before, and it's pretty good. And it is the Weyerbacher Autumnfest. So Weyerbacher is actually not far from where we live. Their brewery isn't far from where we live. So we venture up there every now and then, bring back a couple cases of their beer. So the reason I chose the Autumnfest is because A, I've had it before. B, I know I like it. C, I had a migraine and I don't feel like trying something new when I know I'm going to like this, etc. Basically, I wanted to. I was going to do the pumpkin, but I actually don't like their pumpkin this year as much as in previous years. Like, it's not bad, but to me, it kind of tastes like they just took pumpkin spice and went shh into the brewing process. So to me, I like the Autumnfest a lot nicer. So let's crack this puppy open and get this show on the road. All right, so clink. So good, so good. Okay, so before we get into the knitting stuff, I just want to read maybe a little bit about the beer. I'm going to link to their beer advocate page for this beer underneath, but when I was looking at it before, the beer advocate website was in like an infinite loop, bad gateway, something that only technical people understand, so I don't know if it'll be working by the time I go to put this up. So we'll see, but I will link to a description below, and if not, I will put something down there that you can read more if you're interested. But in case you do want to know about this deliciousness, basically what it is it's Weyerbacher's own unique twist on the German Oktoberfest style. So if you like Oktoberfest type beer, then you'll like this. It's copper, amber, and color, as you can tell. It's made with Vienna and Munich malts for an authentic Bavarian easy drinking taste. So I love German beers. I mean, my preferred beer is Belgian, but pretty much all German beers to me are delicious. I don't know what it is, if it's that they're like slightly heavier, that there's just a lot of flavor. I couldn't tell you, but I love it. It says that there's a slightly fruity taste, but I'm not picking up too much fruit, so it's not going to be like there's a really pumpkin-y or lemony flavor. And the nice part about this is The ABV, which is the alcohol level, is only 5.4%. So that's really not bad, especially if you're the type of person who's looking for, I mean, I wouldn't call it a session beer by any means, but if there's something that you want to sip on and you're going to a party and there's just something that you want to have to refresh you and you don't want to get like loopy, then this would probably be it for this type of beer. If we were going to an outdoor party in the fall, this would probably be one of the better beers. Yeah. I really like it. And like I said, I usually do like Weyerbacher's pumpkin, but this year, because every year it's different, you know, they brew it a little bit differently every year. And I've had that problem with Dogfish Head's Festina Pesh. I didn't like it last year, but this year I liked it. So that's the nice thing about craft breweries, is that it's not always the same. I am kind of sad that I don't like their pumpkin this year, but this will do in the meantime. I'm pretty happy with it, so. All right, so my finished project section, because we are talking about a beer theme here, is going to be called Bottled. And while I do have what I would consider a decent amount of finished projects, I don't have them all with me. 3 of them were my knitted headbands, which I sold. I did take a picture of them, so I'll insert them here. This past week, there were orders for 2 gray ones and 1 custom order for beige. And you have no idea how excited I am anytime someone orders one of my headbands and it's not in gray. Like, I don't know what it is, and I put it on my blog that I think it's because the main image I have up there is gray, that everyone is just attracted to that color. Because when my featured color was cream, everyone was ordering cream. And now that it's gray, everyone's ordering gray. So whenever someone orders something different, like a couple weeks ago, someone ordered an orange version, like I was just so excited to get to work on it because it's different. And hopefully I can continue that theme through the holiday season and not have to make so many gray freaking headbands. I can't, like, believe me, I'm happy for the business. I love making them. They're quick. It just gets boring. And I know that when you have a business, not everything you do is going to be like, yay, I'm so excited to make all this crap. But I know it's not always going to be that way. But something to keep me interested goes a long way. And a lot of that time, it's, even if it's doing the same pattern over and over again, just switching the color is exciting. And I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about, and I'm not really sure why I'm rambling so much about it, because we've all been there. So yeah, that was a picture of the headbands. And my next finished object is finished-ish, because I haven't woven in the ends. But it's this round dishcloth. And I believe Erin from Give Me Yarn 418 did one of these a while ago. And people have been posting them on Instagram all over the place. So I finally said, you know, screw it. I'm going to do it. And this was made with lily sugar and cream. I forget what the colorway was, but I can look it up. And either I'll post it below or post it on my Ravelry project page, because I need to update that like nobody's business. So you can go there to find out what the colorway was. I really liked it because it was so colorful. And I thought this pattern was great. I mean, it was easy. And I would put it somewhere probably between, I wouldn't say that if you're a beginning knitter that you should do this, maybe somewhere more in the intermediate area, because there are short rows. And I thought that this was a great project for if you want to practice your short rows, because there are a lot of them. And it kind of reminds you, okay, when I get here, I'm going to wrap the stitch, and then I'm going to knit back. And then when I have to go back down, I have to pick up the wrap, and then I have to knit the wrap. Like, it was a really great project for that. And then also because at the end, so you can see that it's knit in wedges, and I'm sure a lot of you have actually done this, so you know. But it's knit in wedges, and then when you're done with all the wedges, you have to seam it together. And you can do that with a basic whip stitch, but the pattern says to try doing the Kitchener's stitch with a garter stitch join. So that's what I did, and honestly, I'm not even sure where, I think this was where I joined. And yeah, that's where I joined. But you really can't tell. It's completely invisible almost. And unless you're an experienced knitter, I feel like you're not going to be looking for that type of stuff. And it doesn't stick out in an obnoxious way that other people, and it's totally flat. You can't feel that there's a seam either. It just blends. So I really liked it. And then of course you have your yarn overs at the top. So that's why I say, like, maybe if you're experimenting with your more intermediate patterns and you just want to try something a little bit different and practice some new stitches, that this would be great to do. And then of course if you're a more experienced knitter, then you'll be able to whip this up in like a night or two. It was just fun for me to work on between all my other projects, and I really loved the colorway of this too, because I think it just looks really cool when you're going around the wedges and it looks all swirly and psychedelic. I don't know. We'll see if we actually use this in our kitchen. I made it just for us, and I totally want to make more because they're so fun and I have so much cotton to use. So that's my finished-ish project. So the next section of current projects that I'm working on, I'm calling brewing. See what I'm doing? So the first thing I have going on is one of my friends from college. I hadn't spoken to her in a long time, but she reached out to me and wanted me to make her 8-month-old son a Rudolph hat for photo props, which got me really excited because she said, like, they'll send me pictures of them and everything that I can use. And that's awesome, because a lot of times I make stuff for people and then I never see them again. So the fact that, like, I'll have these pictures and be able to use them to maybe make more for other people, like, that's great. I did buy a pattern, but I didn't really feel like following it. So I'm winging it. The image she sent me that she was interested in me mimicking was clearly made out of homespun or something like homespun. So I had this brown homespun in my stash, and I just followed a simple hat chart to get it this far, and I hope it fits him because he's 8 months old. We'll see. And then there'll be ear flaps on the side, and then in a lighter homespun color, make the antlers and attach like long tassel dangly things to the ear flaps, and then 2 eyes, and of course the nose. And I made the nose just because I really wanted to work in sparkly yarn that day. Anyone who follows me knows that I always have to incorporate some type of sparkle into my project. So this is Red Heart Shimmer in red, and I just thought the sparkly yarn for Rudolph nose would be great. And the picture she sent me had it looked like it was indented here and then just sewed around. So that's kind of what I did. I thought that was a cute take on a Rudolph hat. So that's that. That'll be done probably by the end of the weekend, and then I can take pictures and I can have it as a finished object next week. The next item I'm working on is the Yarnspirations Crochet Along Mystery Scarf. And if you're not following me on my Facebook page, then you probably have heard about it anyway. But I'm hosting an event on my Facebook page that goes along with what Yarnspirations is doing, where you get an email every week with a clue, and it's kind of like a choose your own adventure thing, and whatever you choose takes you to a new pattern for that week. So that's what I've done here with my crochet scarf. I'm 3 weeks in. We got week number 4 this week, but I haven't started it yet. I just haven't had a chance to. But this is what I've done so far on my crochet scarf. So this was week 1, and I chose the arches stitch, which for whatever reason was considered intermediate. I don't quite understand why, because it's so simple. But compared to the other ones where it was just like there was like an easy one that was just all double crochet back and forth, then I guess I can see why. And then this is, I think it's called the lazy wheel or something like that, which was a lot easier to make than it probably looks. I wasn't really sure what I was getting myself into when I started it, but I whipped that up honestly in maybe 20 minutes or so. It's pretty easy. And then this was week 3, and this was called the slanted diamond stitch, I think. I don't remember. It'll be on my blog. Yeah, so this was week 3, and then week 4 I haven't chosen yet. So when all is said and done, you'll have kind of a motley crew of stitches to wear around your neck. I don't know what to expect with this. I am liking the project though, because I hate making scarves. And the reason I hate making scarves is because it just seems like it's the same thing over and over and over again. They don't really work up fast. But with this, where you only make one panel a week and all the panels are different and you're working with 3 different colors throughout the whole thing, like, that's really been keeping my interest. So props to Yarnspirations. Now the next thing I have is the Yarnspirations Mystery Scarf Knit-Along Scarf. So yeah, I'm totally a glutton for punishment, and I'm doing 2 of them. And so this is my progress with this. This first one was called the Crown Stitch, which I thought came out really pretty. It wasn't as much of a pain in the butt as it probably looks. I don't know if I'll ever do it again in my life, but it came out okay, I think. My only complaint is that this seems to be a lot wider than the next 2 panels on the scarf. And I think it's just because these holes are so big that it gives it more, it just lays differently, so it looks like it's bigger. Because this is the next section, and this is the cherry branch stitch. And you can see how this looks like a chunky monkey compared to what's going on up here. Now this is a stitch that I think came out beautifully. And had I not ever made it in my life, I would say that I would do this stitch again. But after the painful experience, because like, look at this, you're constantly making bobbles, you're constantly working with traveling cables. I can only stand so much, and this thing went on for 64 rows. Like, I wanted to hang myself with what was left of the skein. And I don't know, like, it's beautiful. Like, it's so pretty, and I definitely need to like do something about this because everything looks uneven. But I mean, it came out nice. I just no, never again. And then this one is called the Russian Mosaic Stitch, and I really liked this, and I would use this for other things because it kind of looks like Fair Isle or like more intricate color work, but it's not. This whole design is made with slip stitches on every row, and it was so easy, and I think it's so pretty, and it's this dark green color, which isn't really showing up too well. But I don't know, I think that one looks really pretty too, and at the risk of dropping this from my needle, you can see, and I like the colors of this one too. So yeah, you can see how that would look. I don't know, I guess it looks kind of interesting when you're wearing it. We have a couple weeks left to go, so we'll see. And then again, we got the week 4 clues for this on Tuesday of this week, so I need to pick them and work on that, and probably get some of that done over the weekend if I'm not cleaning too much, because cleaning needs to happen like nobody's business, and we'll see. So if you haven't heard too much about the Mystery Knit Along, Mystery Knit Along and the Crochet Along as well, basically what you do is after you get your clues, you're supposed to be making it with the Caron United yarn. At least that's what started the whole thing. Not everyone's using it, and that's fine. But it was started to gain awareness that Caron has this United yarn. And what it does is, I think it's 15 cents from every purchase goes toward a fund to help the children of soldiers who have been lost in the line of duty. It goes to an educational campaign to help them go to college and pay their tuition and get the education that they need. And I did write about this on my blog, so you can go there if you want to read it in detail. But basically, both my parents were teachers, and I'm not a teacher, but I do have an MBA, and I'm 31 years old and doing pretty well for myself in my career. I'm a director, so I feel like education is important, and a lot of people poo-poo it, or they don't understand why it's important and say that it's money down the drain. And in some cases, I do think that is true, but I think that depends on what you want to do. And if what you want to do requires you to go to school, I think even if you don't, I think you should just be educated. I think that's it. Like, if you don't plan on going to college, then you need to be doing something else to keep yourself not stupid. That's just my thought, because like these days, like I talk to people and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on up here. So I really am passionate about education and making sure people are educated, and making sure that your mind doesn't go dark, because both my husband's and my families now suffer from Alzheimer's. And one of the things they say with Alzheimer's is don't stay so routine, like constantly keep yourself learning, keep your brain active. And I think that's why I knit and crochet a lot, is because you're always learning something new. I've just always been that type of person. So I fully support what Karen is doing, and the yarn quality's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best yarn I've worked with, but it's not bad. It's not a scratchy super saver or anything. So if you're working on a scarf or like a larger project like an Afghan, then it's probably going to work fine for you. It does come in a variety of colors, and I don't know, definitely check out the foundation, because like I said, I do think education is important. So if you think education is important as well, it's only 15 cents a skein, but it's something. It is. And so I do appreciate Karen's efforts in getting that done, and I appreciate Yarn Inspirations doing this whole knit along thing to raise awareness for the yarn that goes to this good cause. And I think it's a great idea, and I think everyone in my Facebook group who's participating in the event is having a really good time. So even if you don't want to go and join us, which you can, because I have posted the links to all the previous week's clues, but even if you don't want to jump in and join us with that, then you can at least head over if you want and check out everyone's photos of their progress. And there are a lot of really pretty scarves coming out of this so far. So I'm really happy. We have people from not just the United States, but also people overseas. I think there's someone in the Netherlands who's doing it, and they bought the Karen United yarn. So it's pretty cool that, this thing is going on. So I'll put a link to the event in my Facebook group below, and you can check that out if you want to, and hopefully I will see you over there. All right, and now the last project that I've been actively working on this week is just something that I started on a whim. I saw this project floating around. One of the blogs I follow posted that she had completed one, and then I went to just go look at the project page on Ravelry, and there was a modification floating around that I thought was just great. So here is my Mario Star inspired star blanket. So it's kind of ridiculous, and I really like it. So basically the original, there's like 3 patterns that go into this. There's an original star blanket, and there's a second one with modifications where you end this with a couple rounds of white, and then you go back and work a cloud motif around the edges, which I'm really excited about because I think that'll look really cute. And then you crochet a bunch of other little stars and sew them on. Now this particular modification, you then add 2 long black oval eyes to this one, and then a bunch of little yellow stars with big black oval eyes, so it looks like Mario stars. And I just thought it was the coolest idea ever, and my husband and I, well, especially my husband, is notorious for spending hours at nights playing like Mario Kart, and we're like the only household that owns a Wii U, so we do enjoy our Mario games in this house. So I just thought it was fun, and I started this, it might have even been like Tuesday night, so this is how far I've come in a couple days. It hasn't been difficult at all, and I just so happened to have this humongous skein of blue sitting around, so I felt like it was a sign, like a huge, what is this, the pound of love things? Yeah, just sitting, I never used it. So there we have it. I don't know, I think it's gonna be fabulous. Okay, so the next thing on my list of stuff to talk about is stash enhancement, which I'm calling barreled for my beer podcast. I did order 3 skeins of yarn. One from Desert Vista Dye Works, because they talk about that all the time on the Come Knit With Us podcast, and I felt like I was missing out on something. And then I ordered a skein from Rain City Knits. So those 2 are still coming in, but yesterday I got this one from Rover yarns, and the packaging was like super cute. Like, so I actually kept it in the wrapping so you could see, like, there's a freaking bear on it. And it has my name. It says, "Thank you, Jen. Enjoy your wool." Like, I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, it came all wrapped nicely. So, coming live to you, Jen's unwrapping of. So, look at how beautiful. It's so pretty. It's got like turquoise and golds and browns and some light greens, and oh my god, it's like so fall with blue mixed in. So it's called Chrysocolla. Yeah, so this is the name. Moonrover sock, wild, and then Chrysocolla. I think that's how you pronounced it. But yeah, it comes with 420 yards. It's superwash merino, hand dyed with love. And I love it. Just cradle it like a child. So this is awesome, first of all. So this costs $27, shipping is $3, which I don't think is that bad. I mean, really. And the colors, I don't know if they're really showing up. Yeah, that's not bad. It's still missing out on some of the gold, like picking up on some of the golds though. The colors are just so vibrant. That's a little bit better. Come on. Work with me, Mac. Yeah, they're so beautiful. So I'm really excited about that. And I can't wait to use it. And I really appreciate the cute packaging, and I was really excited when I opened it up. So I will put a link to them down below. They work out of Big Cartel, so if you've ever purchased anything from Big Cartel before, then you know it's a pretty easy transaction, and I will most likely be buying from them again in the near future. So check it out. All right, and so to end my podcast, I'm calling this Updates from the Brew House. So basically it's just going to be rambling about life stuff. So if you want to cut out here, you can. If you want to hear about my oh so entertaining life, you can do that too. Basically, the 2 things I want to talk about are the fact that I'm going out of my mind with trade shows. So some of you know that I work in marketing, and I'm the director of marketing at the company that I work for, and we have these 2 huge trade shows coming up in Las Vegas. They're happening at the same time, the first week of November. Cynthia from I Am She goes to them too, so hopefully I can meet up with her. If she's watching this, then you need to get in contact with me so we can actually meet this year. And yeah, so that's like my life right now has been consumed by these trade shows. The one trade show is 1,000 square feet, and the other one is 400 square feet of booth. And then all the promotions that go into it, and the logistics and getting everything shipped there, and blah, 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 blah. Like that's like all I do right now is work on these trade shows, which is fine. I mean, it's really fine. I really like what I do. I love my job, and I'm way happier at this job a year and a half into it than I was at my last job. So I really can't complain. I'm just a little stressed. So the stress will all be over soon. I also really hate Las Vegas. This is going to be my... Well, I don't really hate Las Vegas. I shouldn't say that. This is like my 4th or 5th time going to Vegas. And I can only tolerate it for like 2 or 3 days where it's actually like a good time and I'm having fun. And then after that, it's like people are weird and it smells and the constant ding, 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 ding of the, like, you can't escape it. Like, you're up in your hotel room and you hear ding, 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 like, all night. Like, you can't, even if it's not, like, physically happening next to you, it just gets stuck in your head, and so that's all you hear in your head. So, I don't want to go. But it'll be fine. I'll have a good time. We have friends who live out there, so hopefully I can get out to dinner with them, and the week kind of flies by, so I'm sure before I know it, I'll be there and back. So that'll be fun. Next up, I don't even have this written down. Next up, Nick and I are celebrating our 5th anniversary, October 10th. So, like, criminies, we've been together for 5 years. That's nuts. And we've done a lot of traveling this summer we went to San Diego for a wedding, and then there was just, like, a bunch of other traveling going on and whatnot, lots of driving. So we have decided to keep it a little low-key this year. We're going to go to my parents' lake house, which I have to call them and make sure that we can still do that. So we're going to go to their lake house and essentially do nothing all weekend. We might head into town next Saturday just to do, like, a nicer dinner. But other than that, like, we're going to make up kits so we can make our own pizza on Friday night and probably just sit in and watch a movie after, like, maybe building a campfire outside if the weather is nicer. And the last time we did that for our 1st anniversary too, and we, for the most part, slept all weekend. And the best part is that the town has a yarn store, so I will probably be coming back with yarn. And the way that I make Nick go is I let him pick out yarn for me to make him something within the next, like, 6 months to a year, whenever I get around to it. And he sent me a pattern for, like, it's like this mitten with a cup holder, like a knitted cup holder that he can hold his beer in. So I think we're going to pick out yarn for me to make him that. We'll see what happens. And I guess in other news, I finished a really good book by Richard Yates. He's the author of Revolutionary Road, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen the movie. I don't know how many of you have read the book, but the book is amazing. The movie is amazing, and I don't usually like movies based on books, so I bought this book a while ago. Revolutionary Road was his first book, and then this Young Hearts Crying book was like one of his last books, so it was kind of, I was interested to see, like, the progression when I was reading it of his writing, and I got the feeling reading this book that I did with Revolutionary Road. Like, his characters are just so vivid, and you don't want to put it down because it just flows, and conversations feel like they're real, and the people feel like they're real, and there's nothing that really happens in the book where you're like, that would never happen. Like, even some of the really good books that I've read in the past, like, there's always this moment where you're like, but that would never happen. Like, that's not how people talk. That's not how people act. And I'm not talking about, like, Twilight okay, so here's my beef with Twilight, is because I can accept that vampires would exist in this world and people wouldn't know about it. What I cannot accept is that vampires and werewolves can exist in one world and people have no idea about this. Like, that was my big beef with Twilight, other than, like, the writing was horrible, blah, blah, blah. I was addicted to Twilight. Still kind of am. I'll watch all the movies. I don't care. Like, so don't get on me about that. I do watch it. But, like, but that's, like, an example of the problems that I have with a lot of books, is that there's always, like, this one thing that sets me off where it makes the characters feel like they're not real. And the thing that I like about Richard Yates is that his characters feel like there's something legitimately real going on behind them. And, like, you read his book and you're almost like, nothing's really happening in this book, but you still can't put it down because you begin to identify with the characters or understand the characters and how they interact with people, and you look forward to seeing what they're gonna do next. And it's just, everything's so subtle about it, and I don't know, I really liked it. So if you're looking for a new book and have some time to spare, it's like 410 pages long or something like that. So I finished it in like a week and a half maybe. I got a little distracted halfway, so I didn't really finish it that fast. But I don't know, if you're looking for a new author and you haven't checked him out yet, then I say give it a go and enjoy it. Other than that, I don't have anything else written down that I felt was important enough to babble about. So I hope you enjoyed this random theme that I have going on with beer and yarn. We'll see what happens with that, I guess. And hopefully I will see you next week with progress on something, anything. I will probably at least have one more skein of yarn to show you. Hopefully two, but we'll see. And yeah, so it's been a little bit of time since my last recording, and I hope you're all doing well. Of course, leave comments down below, like, subscribe, whatever. And I think I'm going to create a Ravelry group for, I can't pronounce that word tonight, I don't know why. I'm going to create a Ravelry group for the podcast so that we can talk outside of YouTube as well. And yeah, so I hope you all had a great week. I hope you're all about to have a great weekend. And I will see you all again soon. Bye.